There's a history.
And risk.
A little bit of a history there.
Yeah. No thanks.
Okay, we should be live any moment.
Okay. I'm going to tweet that we're both live.
Oh yeah, tweeting.
That we're live to both YouTube and Twitch.
Starting the show off right.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can hear us and see us loud and clear. This is Awesome Hardware, episode 162. You're watching Side A. In about half an hour or so, we'll be switching gears to Paul's half on his YouTube channel. So you can follow the link in my video description to find his half, or you can just stay where you are if you're on Twitch, because we stream the show in its entirety here. That's pretty much it. I should also say that we like to have a few drinks on the show.
Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be.
So if you're drinking too, then cheers. Go ahead.
Others.
Oh, sure. Yep, that's right. Me first. And then also we occasionally use adult language on the show. So if you have a problem with that, maybe you have kids around and you don't want us to scar their ears for life, then be warned. Holy moly.
This is thick like molasses.
Oh boy. This is 12% beer sent from a fan. Do we know?
This was sent from a fan, the fan who sent all those really large, awesome beers.
Oh,
and
same guy.
we need to go back and double check the original video where we did the unboxing of them.
Yes.
Because we apparently have lost the card that was with it. But this is Hubbard's Cave El Zacaton.
Oh my god, the smell.
12%.
Just smell
Imperial
it.
Stout fermented on toasted oak with almond flour, cacao nibs, cinnamon sticks, vanilla beans, ancho chilies, guajillo chilies,
Oh my god.
and habanero chilies. So.
Just smell it. Like, take a whiff. It doesn't even smell like beer. It smells like...
Oh, there's so much going on in there.
There's a lot going on there.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, cheers.
Well, thank you, and cheers.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you, guys. Let's give this a shot. That's highly complex.
As I feel like I need to think about it for a while.
Yeah, it tastes just like it smells, if that makes sense.
So while I think about it, Kyle,
We have stores. Buy things.
Yeah, buy things from our
Buy
stores.
things from our stores. My store is bitwit.tech, and there you'll find an assortment of merchandise, shirts, mouse pads,
good
hoodies, more shirts, bottle openers, glasses, beautiful glasses, more bottle openers, and then go to Paul's store as well, paulshardware.net, where you'll find an assortment of shirts, mouse pads, bottle openers, more shirts, and glasses, beautiful glasses. So
we're sold out of the RGB everything shirt.
Maybe they're not sold out on my half or on my store.
If you buy stuff, we will give you a shout out during the after party, which will be on Twitch. And in case Kyle didn't mention, all of this is being streamed both to YouTube Live and to Twitch Live, twitch.tv/awesomehardware.
Yes. All right, let's just dive into the news, shall we?
Yes.
Because we got a lot to talk about today. Quite a few things going on. And starting with our new segment. We have a brand new segment.
Oh, yeah.
Which is not news.
So we're not doing news, is what you're saying.
We're doing green stuff.
Green stuff.
Green stuff is a new segment.
Trying out the green stuff.
This is totally different than news. It is simply news about Nvidia stuff.
Oh.
Green stuff. Get it? It's because they're green. All right.
Some broccoli
it's
there.
very, very creative, highly creative segment I thought about all last night. All right, so there's a lot of things going on with Nvidia, of course, with the RTX launch coming up and stuff like that. Starting with this article from TechPowerUp. They did some digging recently, and while they were testing their RTX cards with GPU-Z, they found that, well, I guess I should read the headline first. Nvidia has been segregating, or they will be segregating their Turing GPUs, some of which can be factory overclocked by the board partner or the end user, or by the board partner, or, and they'll also be making some SKUs, some ASICs that do not support factory overclocking. It's completely forbidden. So
Segregation.
It's interesting. Segregation, yeah. Segregation is not something that is usually something we frown upon in today's society. But look at this, Nvidia segregating things that may or may not should be.
So what's the difference between these various variants of the CPU?
So they noticed on their RTX 2080 Ti that it had two device IDs. Device ID basically tells Windows which software to load for a specific model of card. It tells the driver which commands to send to the card based on that ID. So most cards, actually all NVIDIA cards in the past, have only carried one device ID per SKU. But the RTX 2080 Ti and apparently the RTX 2080 have two device IDs on each one. So it's very peculiar. And what TechPowerUp discovered is that these two IDs correspond to two different ASIC codes per GPU model. So there's the TU-102-300, which is designed to be used on cards targeting the MSRP. So this is more like entry-level cards that are a bit more lower priced and maybe don't have factory overclocking out of the box. And then there's the TU-102-300A. That A at the end is the big differentiator there. That's reserved for custom cards designed for overclocking. So your Asus ROG Strix OC model, your EVGA for the win, or super clock models that all come factory overclocked. Those have a specific ASIC now and a specific device ID that corresponds to that GPU, letting the system know and the driver know that this card can be factory overclocked. It won't be possible without that A SKU on your GPU. Both are the same physical chip. I should reiterate that. It's just one has been binned for overclocking, better power efficiency, and things like that. So yeah, that's not to say don't get too worried about that, because you'll still be able to manually overclock either SKU, or either device ID, either ASIC. That should be noted. But the board partners just won't be able to tune the non-A device ID parts. The other thing to note here that the article mentioned is that this could potentially, didn't confirm, but it could potentially prevent end users from taking buying a cheaper entry-level priced card at MSRP and then flashing it with a custom factory overclocked card's BIOS in order to take advantage of those higher clock speeds. That may not be possible with a specific device ID.
But if you can manually overclock, then I feel like that's a little bit more advanced than manually overclocking. So if you can still manually my question would be is if they've been to the point where the dash A variant can be overclocked. Mm-hmm. So if you have a non-dash A variant, is that a binned chip that underperforms? Like, are the dash A ones all overperforming binned GPUs?
Yes.
Yep.
All the dash A's are apparently binned. So I guess what the article is saying is
they're better. So they're better.
They're way better.
All right.
Which I guess sort of confirms that Nvidia has been binning every single Turing GPU that they manufacture, at least for TU-102 and TU-104. Those are all being binned by Nvidia, and then they're sending them off into two camps: the A SKUs for overclocking and the non-A SKUs for your basic bitch models. Basically.
Okay.
So that's that. You guys, let us know what you think about that. Is this blasphemy to gamers everywhere, or does this not really make much of a difference? I could see it being a bummer for people who have traditionally flashed their cards with a fancy BIOS or something like that.
Or for people who looked for a bargain by buying the base clocked versions of the card and then overclocking it themselves. Like, it sounds like you're going to have to buy an overclocked version of the card already to get the GPU that overclocks the best.
Yes, absolutely. So,
yeah. Anyway.
Yep. True.
Moving on.
More in green stuff. Nvidia SHIELD TV now supports 120 hertz and ups the Wi-Fi bandwidth for their GeForce NOW streaming application. So this new upgrade, it was the 7.1 SHIELD Experience upgrade that they just released this week, now supports 120 hertz refresh rates at sub 4K resolutions based on the bandwidth limitations of the HDMI port on there. This is mainly aimed at gaming and streaming games based either from GeForce NOW or from a connected GeForce-based system that you have, locally connected in your house or something. That's mainly because there isn't a whole lot of 120 hertz video content out there. It's just not very common right now.
Not a lot of people broadcasting.
No.
That refresh rate.
So, which is weird because there's a lot of 120 hertz TVs out there, but you could argue they're not true 120 hertz and all that. But anyway, there's also support for non-QWERTY keyboards if you're into that, which improves, and also improvements to accuracy of mouse movements in GeForce NOW have been made. That was simply by disabling the Android mouse acceleration feature. Apparently there's some annoying feature in Android that accelerates your mouse, which is bad for gaming. That's been taken care of.
Okay.
And then also a pretty big one here is that previously, prior to this update, for whatever reason, the Wi-Fi bandwidth was being throttled, or it just wasn't realizing its full potential when you opened up the GeForce NOW app. So now the improvements for Wi-Fi bandwidth to this app have been improved by 5x.
Well, that's good.
Which, if you're going to be streaming a AAA game, I would imagine that having good Wi-Fi is probably important. If you're not hardwired in or anything. So it's nice to see that Nvidia is continuing support for their Shield TV gamers, both the casual and the hardcore.
Seems like that would line up more with the BF big freaking gaming displays that they aren't launching this year, but they are still supposed to launch next year.
Yeah.
Which are, I believe, supposed to be 144 hertz refresh rate, but they are G-Sync, so I would assume that you could also pipe through do the
that this would be
use your gaming PC through the Shield TV and still have G-Sync support. With up to 120 hertz refresh rate.
Right. That would be sweet.
Yeah.
Moving on, we've got an article from overclocked3d.net. This is just a really quick one. Pictures. Yeah, I love articles with just... oh, wait, no. Sorry, I skipped one. AnandTech. Sorry about that. I'm getting ahead of myself.
You are.
Nvidia has delayed the availability for their RTX 2080 Ti by about a week.
A week?
Going from September 20th, which was like in 2 days. You were about to get one in 2 days. And now you're going to have to wait till September 27th, a whole 7 days.
That sucks.
Gee whiz. What an inconvenience.
See, we told people not to pre-order.
Yep, and this is why.
I just get disappointed.
But you can still pre-order the RTX 2080. That's still available.
Oh.
And it will be launching September 20th. So pre-order that.
That's in 2 days.
Right now. Just throw your money at this pre-order. Don't wait for the reviews. Hashtag ad. Hashtag Tom's Hardware. Hashtag
/S.
/S. Sure. That's really all for that article. It's been delayed. We don't really know why. It could be to
probably
get ready to
there was a shipment
party.
Of them being on a icy train track, going through just some mountains.
Antarctica.
And there's a train, with the car full of them on there.
Yep.
And then there's a shootout.
Oh yeah, bandits
on the train, and then a big explosion.
Graphics card bandits, and
that's what I imagine. That's probably part of what went on to cause this delay.
If that's really what happened, I'd give them a 3-day delay at most.
Yeah,
a week's just obscene.
That's what I said. That's part of it. Obviously, the feature-length film going over it will take a little bit longer.
The lead of Jensen Huang.
I imagine it will feature real-time ray tracing, though.
and Jensen Huang's character will be played by none other than Jason Statham.
Jason Statham as Jensen
We'll be playing Jason Statham as Jensen Huang.
That'd be kind of fun. I could see him in the jacket.
Right?
That jacket would work on
he
Jason
probably already
Statham.
wears one of those.
Yeah, so, all right.
They know each other. All right, moving on here. This is the article that I was talking about momentarily a bit ago. This is from overclocked3d.net, and it's pictures. I love articles with pictures because you can just look at them and be like, hey,
that's visual.
That's so visual.
So many colors.
So the ROG Strix 2070, or I should say the ROG 2070 Strix OC. Sometimes it's weird because sometimes Asus puts Strix before the model, and sometimes they put it after. I don't like it, but although it says ROG Strix on the box.
ROG RTX 2070 Strix? Yeah, that's confusing.
It's confusing. Anyway, there's a Strix in there somewhere. So you've got the more premium overclocked one, probably or definitely has that A SKU ASIC on it that we just talked about because it's factory overclocked. And then there's the RTX 2070 Dual. You can tell because it's got dual fans as opposed to triple on the Strix.
Brilliant.
So let's talk about these. The Strix model clearly has a triple fan heatsink design, and the fans are not quite. They're not quite like the ones on the RTX 2080 or 2080 Ti. Those axial tech fans that we've seen pictures of, but rather they're more familiar. More. I guess they're borrowed from.
It's in the other room.
Oh, okay. These fans are more like of the Pascal ones that we've seen that we're familiar with.
I do have one of those.
They're probably just recycling or reusing unused Pascal fans.
Let's just pretend.
There's also a 2.5 slot.
I've got one right here.
There she is.
This is the Asus RTX 2070.
What? Oh, it's
For
not.
all you know.
It says GTX right there.
Shut up, Kyle. It's the RTX, as you can see.
Raining on your parade. Nope. I mean, it could very well be, right?
It could.
Hold on, let me see. Is this...
At it from that angle.
Although, look at the... Right here. Oh, no, yeah. No, it's exactly the same shroud and everything.
Yeah, it's the same shroud.
Yeah, same shroud.
They do have a new shroud for the 2080 and 2080 Ti.
And this is considered 2.5 slot, I believe, too.
It's 2.7 slots, Kyle?
No.
No, this is 2.7.
This is?
Yes.
Well, then it's slightly different then.
Oh, well then...
This is 2.5.
Oh, okay. Never mind. All right, it's 2.5.
So maybe it's the same strap, but then the heat sink's taller?
The new one is 2.7.
For the RTX...
Not like those massive 2.75 slot coolers. 2.7.
Well, you know what's weird is that the Strix is 2.5, but the Dual is 2.7.
Oh yeah, you guys are right. The DVI port gives it away. Say again? What?
Oh yeah. The Dual is actually thicker. It's 2.7.
Oh.
Versus 2.5 on the Strix.
Like, I feel like it doesn't matter.
I mean, it gives them a little bit more...
Between 2.5 and 2.7. I appreciate having a bit of space there, because if you're going to do two-way and you have triple slot spacing, then you want to have some space there.
But two-way is not supported on 2070, so maybe that's their... That's why it's okay to have a little bit thicker of a card, yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, gotta have that thick card.
Thick! But, you know what's interesting is that if you scroll down, also the article points out another oddity here, is that there's an NVLink SLI bridge, or finger, on the dual card. And that's...
Is there? Is it...
That is there. Yep.
These are renders.
No, but
I know. I'm just saying these are renders. So I'm like right here, looking at it, it looks like it's just a dummy, like part of the PCB that they didn't actually fill out because it doesn't have the contact points on it. But it's a render, so I'm not sure. They
may not have soldered the contact points on there.
Yeah.
But what they're saying is that ASUS likely borrowed over a surplus of unused PCBs for their RTX 2080 and 2080 Ti.
Oh yeah.
For these cards, that way they'd be compatible with the cooler and the backplate design. And they just didn't bother to fully remove that SLI finger just to make it simpler, less money and stuff.
That happens.
So don't get excited. It's not some Easter egg that Nvidia was, trying to slip one under our noses or anything. You can't two-way 2070s. I don't think you'll ever be able to two-way a 70 card from Nvidia ever again, actually. Doesn't seem like that's the direction they're headed. But you never know. And that's it. You can expect both of these cards to arrive sometime in October. Yay. Let's move on.
Yay.
News. Let's just talk about some general, boring, non-green news now. How about that?
News. Okay.
Let's talk about red news. No, that'd
Changing it up.
What color is Tesla? Is Tesla considered... I guess red is their color.
I think red is usually what they...
All right. So I guess this could be kind of red news, at least this article. The Tesla Model 3 is now in delivery logistics hell, according to the article. And also according to Elon Musk. So production of the Model 3 finally ramped up to Musk's expectation of producing 5,000 a week. But now they have a logistics nightmare. And it doesn't really go into detail why, but for whatever reason, these things cannot get delivered at the moment. Some lady on Twitter was bitching, saying, my car, I keep getting messages of my car that's just sitting in the lot waiting for shipment, but it's just been sitting there for like a week or two, and there's no explanation. They keep delaying my arrival date, and I don't know why. And then Elon Musk reached out to her on Twitter and said, we'll fix it soon. I'm Elon Musk. Calm down, I got this. So
he does seem fairly relaxed in his Twitter photo.
He's always relaxed in like every tweet.
Must be from smoking that blunt.
Right? Totally. You can't even trust a man who's...
Or accusing people of being pedophiles.
Who's on the pot.
Yeah, right. He's getting them mixed up.
So,
she should just climb that fence. I mean, there's a bit of barbed wire. I feel like she should just take her car. She paid for it, right?
Yeah. And the Model 3 will basically just drive her out of there.
Yeah.
She wouldn't even have to drive it.
Say Model 3,
Take me home.
Use the lasers, I assume, are built into the front of you to cut through the fence.
Fly.
And then take me to In-N-Out.
Jump over the... and take me in now.
Yeah.
So there's bigger news though with Tesla lately. As most of us know, Elon Musk tweeted that he wanted to take the company private, and then he sort of recanted.
Funding secured.
Not just kidding.
No.
No, and then he recanted a few days later. This whole situation kind of revolved around his relationship with the Saudi Wealth Fund, who invested $2 billion into Tesla recently. But it's interesting. It seems like Saudi fund is playing a different tune now, because today we learned that they invested $1 billion into Lucid Motors, which is probably the closest competitor to Tesla. Can't imagine they'd be that close, because I've never heard about them until today.
It's a smack to the face to Elon Musk.
The investment hopes to fuel the production of the Lucid Air hypercar by 2020, The company has had a hard time finding financial support to move it forward to actual vehicle manufacturing. So now they're going to have a new factory built in Arizona thanks to that Saudi money. That's nice.
Gotta get that Saudi money.
Doesn't necessarily mean that the Saudi fund has lost all faith in Tesla or Elon Musk, but rather that they could just be diversifying their investments like any smart investor would do with their money. I don't know. I don't know much about investing. And it'll be...
I thought you had like a contact at the Saudi wealth fund that was feeding you information about their future plans.
Well, you know, they did invest $1 billion into Bitwit, but I spent it all. Actually, Lyle spent it all.
Oh,
he needed new clothes.
Lyle.
He has expensive taste. And then Lucid is suddenly now a much bigger threat to Tesla because they actually have funding to move forward in big ways, like actually making a product. But it'll still be a long way until they even get close to catching up with Tesla because right now their focus is on a 900 horsepower hypercar. I think that's it.
It says Lucid on the front, so...
Yeah, it's got to be it. Which is definitely not a mainstream product like Tesla's Model 3. So,
I mean, it's mainstream if you price it right.
How
many horses?
900.
900. Oh, that's reasonable.
It's faster than like a Lambo.
Just for a commuter car, then.
Yeah, you got to get there quick. You know, you're late to work. Not anymore.
This is an Easter egg right here. Tuesday, November 28th.
Oh.
It's probably when they're dropping this car.
Oh, you might be right.
That's my guess.
Or that car can time travel, and it's actually taken from the future.
So the 900 horsepower is
so fast.
Power the flux capacitor in place of Mr. Fusion, which has not been invented yet.
Mr. Fusion. Is that the name of Is that from the movie?
Yeah, well, in Back to the Future, well, actually, the end of Back to the Future 1, Doc comes back from the future, and he has a fusion. He has Mr. Fusion installed in the DeLorean.
I don't remember that.
So that he doesn't need the plutonium anymore.
Okay.
To power it, he can just use. He puts like banana peel and stuff like that in there. Use the fusion to power it. That's why in Back to the Future 3, his problem in order to get back to 1985 isn't that he doesn't have enough power. Like, he doesn't need to find plutonium. He has Mr. Fusion. The problem is that he'd ripped the fuel line, and he can't run the engine to speed the DeLorean up to 88 miles per hour in order to actually travel back to the future.
It's common sense, really.
Yeah.
The more you know. It's fun facts from Paul. That should be a whole segment where you just drop like useless movie trivia.
But I never know when I'm actually going to be able to like dole out that much information about something. Like, I had no idea that I knew that much.
You never know until you test yourself, right?
Yeah, but it was all there apparently.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, so that's that. Cool, good job, or good luck, Tesla. Try not to lose all your money and stuff that you don't have. Let's move on to a PC Perspective article about Apple. Further confirming that Apple devices are not invincible. Well, they are just as prone.
It's an unappealing photo.
Unappalling? No, that doesn't work. Apple fans are upset about the invulnerability of some of the company's products lately. There was a less serious bug that crashes the device.
The vulnerability?
The vulnerability, sorry.
Invulnerability would be...
Yes, no. That would be
That's what they sell. That's what they sell you.
That is true, and it's incorrect. Vulnerability, right, Paul? A less serious bug has been crashing devices left and right from simply visiting a web page, which has been more of an inconvenience than a threat. But still, if your device is crashing from opening up a web page, that's kind of...
yeah.
It's kind of lame.
It's horrible.
Windows doesn't do that. All right, so the second vulnerability involves Secure Anywhere, which is a security software.
A security software. Okay.
So
Go
there's a vulnerability in a security software, which is kind of funny, which has remained unpatched for a while. The patch was released months ago, but we're just learning about it this week. Why? Well, I guess the theory there from Apple is that if you let people know that there's an issue right away, it might expose more devices to the threat. But that could backfire as well. Leaving users in the dark on something like that could lead to a delayed upgrade as users wait to see if a patch has negative effects, which leaves them open to attack. In this case, the vulnerability was only effective on already compromised devices, so hopefully the number of people targeted was at a minimum. So this is all to say that Mac users, stay woke. I just felt like saying that. I wanted to feel what it's like to be young and say hip phrases.
You never said stay woke before?
Not organically. Not as naturally and fluidly as I just did.
It felt like it didn't feel too forced, but
maybe after I said what I did right after, it seemed a bit more forced. But I don't know. Did I use it properly though?
I believe so. I mean, I'm not privy to these sorts of things.
Okay.
I usually have to look it up on
Urban Dictionary. Yeah,
just,
that's how I know I'm old, when I'm going to Urban Dictionary
times.
for like not to like when I was younger. I'd go to Urban Dictionary to like create words and definitions.
Oh, you would make them up yourself.
Yeah,
you'd coin terms like
terms like internetically. I don't know, or like degen or something like that.
You made up the word degen?
No, I didn't make it up.
Oh,
but it's just like as an
you
abbreviation.
uploaded the definition.
It was
on Urban Dictionary,
right?
Which is basically like you made the word up.
Same thing. But now that I'm old, I go there to stay informed of the hip lingo that youngins are using. So anyway,
gotta stay woke.
Our next article is from Overclocked 3D.
Oh yeah.
And it's about RX Vega 64 cutting prices, at least in the UK. I checked the US prices.
US prices are the same?
US prices are the same right now.
Gee.
But if you're in the UK, you're in luck because they just dropped the pricing of the RX Vega 64 to be pretty much under the GTX 1080.
£440, which converts to, I believe, roughly $5,000 US.
That's not true at all. It's totally inaccurate.
Stop yawning, Kyle.
Oh, I'm not. No,
it's
you're
a
yawning.
live show.
No, I know.
Drink more beer.
It was a staged yawn. It's fake news.
Okay.
So it's cheaper now than a GTX 1080 if you live in the UK.
Which makes
it should
sense.
be, because it doesn't perform quite on par with the GTX 1080 in most games.
Like,
I will say. But you get three. But you get 3 free games with the RX Vega 64 right now through a sweet AMD promotion called
AMD,
Raise the Game. Raise
the game.
the effing game, mother
Raise.
effers. It includes Strange Brigade, Star Control Origins, and Assassin's Creed Origins.
Wow. They could have had an Origins trifecta if
I know.
Strange Brigade only added Strange Brigade Origins. That sounds fine.
Yeah.
They should change the name of that game
Strange Origins Brigade.
line up with this bundle.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Missed opportunity there.
if you're interested in those games, then that's a pretty cool thing to go along with your Vega 64 for
How much?
440 British pounds.
How much cheaper would an RX Vega 64 have to be than a 1080 for you to buy it?
I feel like if you could get a Vega 56 for less than $400, it would be a very competitive offer.
With the
Like, I don't know if
1070?
they can reasonably sell it for that much, just when it comes to the cost for everything and
Right.
the HBM memory. But like, because then if you have a competitive AMD graphics card with Nvidia at the same price, then you can start talking about FreeSync versus G-Sync.
Yeah.
Because you really want FreeSync or G-Sync in either case. G-Sync, FreeSync's a lot cheaper when it comes to the monitors, but
Yeah.
if the graphics cards aren't like reasonably priced, then
Right.
it's harder to say. But also, the higher end graphics cards is you're going to have a higher chance that the people who are able to afford those cards are also going to be looking at something like a higher end monitor that has G-Sync or FreeSync. So
Right. I could see.
Yeah.
I could see, because FreeSync is more friendly with like monitor like manufacturers and stuff, where like you'll see Samsung or LG just pumping out monitors that just happen to have FreeSync, not as like a primary feature, but just like almost like just in the
it's a
background.
lot easier to implement than it
G-Sync,
doesn't
right.
cost the manufacturer more because
Right.
it's an open standard.
So I could see
So-
someone who has an existing FreeSync monitor at home, and they, it might be worth it to spend an extra $40-50 on a Vega 64, for example, for that adaptive refresh rate technology or whatever.
But I would not say buy a FreeSync monitor right now anticipating future Radeon cards to come.
Right.
Because if you had done that when they first started talking about Vega, you would have been waiting for like a year and a half or something like that.
Yeah. Or yeah, just everything.
All right, moving on.
Next up, we have an article from Hot Hardware. This is about Microsoft backpedaling on their obnoxious anti-Chrome and anti-Firefox pop-ups in Windows 10. So for the upcoming Windows 10 October 2018 update, Microsoft was testing a new prompt that basically would harass users and convince them to ditch their third-party web browser and instead try Microsoft Edge. Actually, one of the actual texts read, "You already have Microsoft Edge," or the prompt was going to pop up anytime you tried to install a third-party browser, and it would say, "You already have Microsoft Edge, the safer, faster browser for Windows 10," which kind of rags on the competitor's security and their speed at the same time, which sounds somewhat unfounded.
It's a little unfair when Microsoft is making the operating system.
Yeah.
For them to be able to do that with third-party applications. I don't mind them having Edge and having their own browser that they want to push, but yeah, this is lame. So they're not doing this anymore?
No, because they had some people test out the build for their Windows Insider or whatever, and then the feedback was so negative that they decided to exclude these warning messages with the with the future update that ships next month.
Thanks to any of you guys watching this show who are part of that Windows Insider program who gave them that feedback.
Unfortunately, it's they're saying that Microsoft may still try to test these types of prompts in future updates. So just because it's off the shelf now, it doesn't mean it couldn't come back at some point. I think Microsoft at this point, they haven't given up. They're just like, all right, how do we like rework these pop-ups to be more sneaky? And they're just going to try to like deceive the testers and stuff. And then they're going to roll it out eventually, I think. But let's see. What else? The update will also bring changes to Edge, the browser that we're suggesting people don't use, including AI Assist for the keyboard, HDR controls, and other refinements to the UI, blah-de-blah-de-blah.
That's exciting.
Let's see. I think that's it for my half.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that was about half an hour or so, just like we promised.
Give or take.
And now we're going to switch gears. Don't go anywhere. Paul's half starts in just a minute or two.
We'll be very soon. Linked in the description down below.
Yep.
Thanks to you guys for watching this. Hit the thumbs up button.
Do timestamps for me. Do timestamps for me. I'll love you for life.
We love timestamp makers. And we'll be right back.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
We will. Wow, I didn't even touch my beer. I was talking so much.
I know. Now you